Good afternoon. Wanted to jump on here, give you the good news. I'm pretty pumped up. I can't confirm I might have done a backflip. Probably not, but emotionally I'm doing backflips. And so we've got some really good news coming out of the Oregon State Supreme Court. And so let's kind of talk about it. I spoke with Tony Allo, our attorney on the case, and he kind of laid out what this looks like. And so I want to get you guys involved and let's celebrate what we just accomplished and our attorney just accomplished. Okay. So I'll let you guys jump in here, tune in. This is huge. And so, kind of it's an amazing thing to be a part of and see what's happening. And I think what we should be celebrating is the fact is we're still alive in this process. Okay. We saw yesterday in that public hearing that the other side is still trying to force this thing into fruition. It's not happening. Okay, we have a legal system for a reason. We have the Oregon State Supreme Court for a reason, and that's for our voice to be heard and for all the options to be exhausted. Okay, at this point, we were waiting to hear if our challenge was at, because the way it started. Okay, so we had the Horny County ruling. Okay, so that we had a really great ruling that basically gave us a permanent injunction or a stay on Measure 114. Okay, and so the other side, they weren't happy with that because they'd already spent millions of dollars arguing this case. And so what they did is they doubled down and they appealed it to the Oregon State Court of Appeals. Okay, it went there. Obviously, we did not get the ruling that we needed, but it's really important to note this fact. Okay, there's going to be people that are going to say, "Oh, this was already ruled constitutional." Okay, yes, it was an opinion out of the Oregon State Appellate Court. Okay, it's an opinion, and it's different than the injunction that we had out of Horny County. Okay, so they do not have the power to overrule what came out of Hardin County, so it had to go to a higher court. And so what we were waiting, and we're waiting very anxiously, is whether or not we were going to get the opportunity to review this in front of the Oregon State Supreme Court. We just got word today. Tony Allo got the notice that he's been waiting for, and they accepted our challenge. And so this is the petition for review. And so this is just part of the legal process. And so what this is going to do is now it sets a couple hard dates for us and things that we should be aware of and how this is going to move forward for us. But the one thing that we don't have to worry about is this thing going into effect tomorrow. We don't have to worry about this thing going into effect next month. So we have some time. We've got a reprieve, and so obviously we have a couple weeks left in the Oregon legislature, so there's things that we should be aware of there. They're active and they're trying to sound. You guys you guys have sound, right? Bro. Really? Do you guys have sound? What a So can you thumbs up or down? Can you guys hear me? I hear. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I was on one and I was like, I don't want to lose my momentum, but I saw a sound. I'm like, oh no, because I thought I had everything checked. So back to what I was saying. Okay, so this is something that we can all celebrate together. So the momentum, I don't know if you guys can feel it, but I can feel it. The momentum is building. Okay. The momentum is we are going to win. Okay. We are going to take our rights back from those people that are trying to take away from us. Okay. And so it's really, really important to note is Measure 114. We're still alive in this process. This thing, obviously, we have a federal trial, a federal case, but this is out of Horny County. So this is the state case, and we're making moves and we're doing everything that we need to do to continue to fight this, and we're going to stand together victorious, once this all goes into effect. Okay. So, or goes through the process. And so I just got the news, and so what it looks like going forward is, so basically we have 28 days, And so Tony Aiello, our attorney, is he's working on the brief. Okay, so he has 28 days to present his briefs, and they've set a date for November 6th. That's when they're going to have the oral arguments in front of the Oregon State Supreme Court. Each side gets a half an hour to argue their points in front of the Oregon State Supreme Court. I'm not sure how many judges are on that panel, but it's something that is really big for us because it would have been really easy for obviously the Oregon State appellate court to have the ruling, okay, and then the Oregon State Supreme Court said, "Nah, we don't want to hear this. We don't want to take any part of this." And what they would do is they would punt that back to, I believe, Judge Rashi over there in Harney County, and he would have to review his ruling. And I don't know if he would be able to release the TR. I'm not sure of all of that, but I'm trying to kind of paint a picture of what it all looked like. And so this is really great that the only thing that was kind of, hanging on me, and I know other people that are paying attention to this, is the fact, the unknown. We didn't know. I mean, I knew deep down the Oregon State Supreme Court was going to take up this challenge because it is such a hot button issue in the state of Oregon. And so I knew I knew deep down they were going to give us the review because this is a very polarizing topic. It's a very polarizing bill because of the way that they supposedly say it's the will of the people. But we don't have fair elections here in Oregon. So how can we prove that was actually Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck not voting in support of this bill? Okay. The whole thing with this whole group that's Lift Every Voice Oregon, they've been very, very good at controlling the narrative. They've been very good at using the optics. They've been using it. They've been manipulating everybody. They've been manipulating the media, our legislature, the politicians, and it all to force this to go into effect. Okay. They still to this day talk about this as Measure 114 is the law. Technically, it is the law, okay? They're not wrong there. It is law. The problem is it's not enforceable because it's not implemented yet, okay? So that's the difference there, okay? So I think it's really important to note there is going forward, the next couple of days you're going to see the media come out. They're going to come out and say that this is a bad move. You're going to see the other side, put out press releases saying that the Oregon State Supreme Court should not have weighed in, and they're going to try to nullify everything that all the momentum that we've built. Okay, so as Oregon gun owners, I want you to listen to this, and I want you to celebrate some of the milestones that we've got in this session. And I know it's really easy to get defeated because it seems like it's such a daunting and there's so many things that are going on. We have tax bills, we have transportation bills, we have the gun bills, we have all these other bills, right? Um, and what we're doing, because we have positive momentum, we're staying focused, we're staying part of the process, we're engaging civilly and civically, right? Really important, civically, we're engaging, is we're building this goodwill up there, and this is going to go in our favor. I guarantee it. Okay. So obviously, there's things that I cannot talk about. I will not talk about, but we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep building on this momentum. Okay. And this is just another stick in their spokes. This is going to take all the wind out of their sails. We can read between the tea leaves. This is why they knew something was going to happen. This is why they dropped that amendment yesterday, right before the hearing, is because they knew that Measure 114 was not going to be dead like they're trying to say it is. Okay. And so that's where it's really, really important as we stay focused. We got to stay and fight this all the way to the end. Okay. And so that means we stay engaged, we stay rallied. Excuse me. I get so excited I choke. So I think absolutely. So Thomas, so what this does, and this is one thing that we have to look at, is this prevents Measure 114 to go into effect, right? Which the one thing that they're trying to do in the legislature with 3075 is they were trying to backdate the criminal penalties for magazine capacities back to December 8th of 2022. Okay. So I'm sure that would have been challenged in court, because how can you backdate a lie like that and make all of us criminals when we can legally today go buy a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds completely legally. And so, this, what this does is this prevents this from going into effect, also prevents it from being enforceable by, you know, also affects our we're not going to have a permit to purchase for the short term. Okay, so we don't know what's going to happen. The things that we do have going in our favor is the fact that they do not have the funding. They are totally disorganized up there in the Oregon State Capitol, and they just can't maneuver. They are literally, they don't know what to do at this point. And here we are, keeping our heads down, doing the work, working the steps, and we're pulling off these victories. Okay, and these victories come at a cost. Okay, so one thing I will say here is the appeal process is not going to be cheap, and this is something I'm going to put a Gibson Go link in here. And I know people don't want to fund lawsuits, but this is something that we need to chip into. And it could be 5, 10, 20, $30. It all adds up, okay? Because they're going to need a war chest to go in there to go up against to the machine, which is the Oregon State DOJ, to argue this out in front of the Oregon State Supreme Court. And so I think it's really important to note is we've done some really great things together in the past couple of years, and when it comes to fighting these bills and the gun rights stuff. But it's important to note that we lose when we don't fund it. Okay, so that's what's really important is Tony and his firm got into the red earlier in the year, and so it's been a challenge, and so they're dependent on us to do our part, like you were dependent on me and the people that were with me yesterday to be up inside the building to give you a voice, and so we need your help. And and so all of this is in vain if we can't fund it. Okay, I'm just saying, and I don't want to get too preachy because this is something that we but I have to say it, it's really important as we fund it, and I can't stress that enough. And so, but it's really, there's so much good things to celebrate here. So we're just going to be looking forward. And so what it looks like is we had 28 days. We're going to file the brief, and that's gonna and he's gonna prepare for the oral arguments, and it's going to be in November. So we got 5 months. We got 5 months to fund this. We have 5 months to prepare. We have 5 months before anything is going to go into effect in a worst case scenario. And obviously, it's going to be at Thomas. That would be amazing. Okay, I'll put the link, and let's crush it. Let's crush it like we've been crushing everything. Okay. It doesn't take a lot. If we can just do a little bit, okay. If we can do 5, 10, 20, it'll all add up if we all put part in it, and so, that's where it's really important that we're a part of this. And so this is just great news. The one thing I was fearful of is the fact that what if, the what if, especially when they hammered us. They hammered this year with 3075, 3076, and then they hit us with the 243, and I just felt like I was getting worn down. And all we did is we continued to just keep everything in front of us, and we learned a lot. We stayed focused, we stayed positive, we didn't let outside influence kind of affect what was going on, and we did the work. And here we are today. We're 2 weeks away, 2 weeks away from the end of the session. And and we got this great news out of the Oregon State Supreme Court. So it's a lot to internalize, it's a lot to think about. But the alternative was, all of us becoming criminals, all of us having to have a permit to purchase, not having a program in place for us to get the training that was mandated by this bill, not being able to know if law enforcement was going to have the capacity or the funding or the staffing to be able to not squander our rights or step on our rights. And so it's great to be able to breathe a sigh of relief here and just say we got through this checkpoint. Okay, on to the next round. That's where we're gonna go. And I tell you, it's been fun. I'm trying not to get emotional just thinking about the time and effort and energy I put into this, and others that have put into this, and how I've chased this all over the state, from Harney County a couple times, to get the information, to the sleepless nights, the all the stuff that went into this, and there's so many people just like me that help be part of this, but just to see it still survive, and I still had that belief, and there's a lot of people just like me that believe that this is unconstitutional, and all we needed was that opportunity to have our voices be heard at the highest level in the state of Oregon, and here we are, and we get that opportunity. And so, it's hats off to our attorney, their staff, Tyler Smith, his attorney, and this is just awesome for us. And so we should obviously, we got work to do still, and we got to make sure that we get through this session unscathed or as best as we can. But this is a huge, like, just, and you think back to all the testimony that was submitted yesterday, is the fact that the people up there stood up there on the other side and they lied and they cheated and they tried to steal your rights away, and today they lost because this is not, we're going to get to the next round. And so yes, we got to step up to the plate, Jeff, 100%. And it doesn't take much, okay? There's enough of us here that if we can just do a little bit, and we're going to keep going forward, and we're just, hi Tina, I miss you. I hope you're doing good. I just, we just got to keep going. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. I'm gonna, because we're not gonna accept defeat, right? Because our rights don't come from the legislature. Okay, our right. This is so much bigger than Oregon legislature. This is so much bigger than Lift Every Voice Oregon will ever be, because they're not legitimate. All of that outside money that's poured into our state to fund the taking of your civil liberties is on its deathbed, right? Because we are, Alex, it's a good time to be here. Measure 114, we are going to the Oregon State Supreme Court for our official review. We just received our petition for review today, so we are still alive. We will go to the Oregon State Supreme Court in November. Tony is going to do an amazing job, and he's going to bring home that victory. And you think about this, right? As much as I kind of got emotional a second ago, this man has fought 40 different, like a staff of 40. It was literally David versus Goliath, okay? It was him and a few others that pushed back and held the line and worked this process all the way, and it's still alive. And it's got to be such an amazing feeling to know that the work that you've put in is obviously not going to go away, and it's going to be something that's going to be historic. I mean, this decision is going to be historic, because what it does is it sets a precedent for us in Oregon. Okay, so what it does is it shows the fact that our referendum, our initiative process is not 100% infallible because of the corrupt people that are in charge of it, and Oregon gun owners worked the steps and fought it from A to B to Z, and we get the victory, and it's going to be a huge precedent for the state of Oregon, right? So it shows that this process that we are working is designed for a reason, and it works the way it's supposed to if we work the steps. And that's what we're doing right now. Yes, 100%. And this is a big shout out to Tony. And Alex, how we help Tony is we make sure that we give him the money that he needs to continue to fight on. And so if we could put up tip jars in our FFLs, we can put a 5 or a 10, a tip into a jar that we can give to our attorney that's going to help him when he needs it in November. That's going to really help. Okay, so that's what we got to do. It's still alive. There's a great chance that we're going to be victorious, and we just got to keep moving forward. Okay, and we just got to fund it. So I am so glad to be able to share this information with you guys, and I'm glad you guys trust me, and I'm glad you guys have been a part of this process and this journey with me. And it's exciting. It's exciting, and we're gonna keep moving forward, and we're gonna stay together, and we're gonna just see it through. And no matter what happens, we've come a long way, and we're gonna be happy because we've learned through the process. And uh, it's my feeling that we're gonna be victorious. So that's what I'm gonna hold on to. I'm gonna hold on to hope, because I've never seen anything that's not given me hope. So you know, I hope that you leave that with this today is we still have hope because we're still involved and we're still engaged. So that's kind of where I'm at. If you guys, I'm going to check the questions. I don't like this platform that I'm using, and really need to figure that out because I got to get a better platform. I used to use the StreamYard. StreamYard was much easier. Problem is, it was charging me $45 a month, and it was like, it was there's costs. There's costs involved with doing what I'm doing. I just couldn't. It was tough. So I have to be really mindful of that. So I've had to change things. And no, nothing yet, Alex. Nothing yet. And as soon as I hear, I will. You believe me, you guys will know. And because what it's going to be is the next one is going to be scheduled for a work session. And I hear my email jumping, blowing up, and I just want to make sure there's nothing there. Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, okay. So yeah, so nothing's there, so we're good there. So I haven't got an alert on 243, so it hasn't got scheduled for a work session. And yeah, 100% JoJo. Thank you, Scott. And that's kind of where I'm at. Just celebrate, just celebrate. Just wow, what a week! What a week that it's been. It's gone from full on panic, 24 hours, public hearing, beat them in the public hearing, and then we get this, and it is amazing. And I'm gonna put this on YouTube, and you guys can share this information. Share this with your gun owners, and the goal is obviously this is a closed group that we talk about this stuff in, but I also want your guys to know kind of what's in the loop. I want them to feel empowered because we're not done yet. We got stuff to do, and we're not going to give up, and we're going to win because remember we're righteous, right? Okay, and so that's really great news for us. So I appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, I'm going to put the Gibson Go in here. Let's put a little bit of money in that pot because he's going to need money to fight. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take deep pockets, but all of us putting into it's going to really help. So that's kind of where I'm at. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope this is a good message for you guys, and it helps you get through your day because there's going to be more work to do soon. And Alex, and what I've done is I've activated you. I've activated you. I've activated Brian. I've got 5 or 6 messages last night on Facebook from guys that have never ever submitted testimony before in their life, and they submitted testimony. Okay, so that tells me the work that I put in is helping, right? Because it's getting more people involved. It's giving people hope, and it's a tremendous honor to be able to do so. And I've met some great folks along the line, and we're just gonna keep going. And yeah, no, so I haven't heard anything that I need to follow up. That Krupp guy, that's another thing. Let's okay. I don't want to go a different direction with this stream, but this is definitely something that well, let's get through this session. Let's get this session closed out, and then let's start talking recalls and all the other stuff. But this will give us the wind in our sails to do other things. If we can pull off all the stuff that we're doing currently, we are going to be unstoppable because we have the cheat code now. Okay. And the cheat code is we show up and do the work. Okay. They don't expect us to do it, and we do it. And then they're like, oh, dang. And that's what we're seeing. When we're seeing over 2,200, I think we're at 2,200. I'm going to have to double check. We're at 2,200 in opposition right now. Still, yeah. So if you haven't submitted, please submit. I want to get it to 5,000. I want them to see 50 screens of 100 in opposition to 243, and then I'll feel good about it. Okay. Until then, I'm not going to feel good about it because there's still going to be work to do. And we have just over 24 hours. Okay. So if you haven't done it, let's do it. And let's be part of history. Let's stop this stuff. So thank you, Jessica. I'm a dude. Thank you, Martin. I've missed you this year up there. So thank you. I'm just a dude. So I'm just doing my part, and you guys are helping. So I'm going to get off here, and you guys have a great day. Submit that testimony if you haven't already done so. Let's run it up on them. We're going to dunk on them and celebrate the fact that Measure 114 is not going to see the light of day because we're going to continue to fight it every step of the way. Every step of the way. So thank you guys. Thank you, JoJo, for the help. We'll put the gifts and go in here. Anything helps. Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 10,000. It all helps. Okay. So fund it, fund it, fund it. So other than that, I'm going to get off here. You guys have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.